Hello, this is Brian Rowe with Mythic MTG Tech. I'm back in Seattle. I just got back from Texas and I'm super happy to be here. Texas is not for me. People down there were very nice, but it's just not my particular state. Although I'll be headed back to Austin a little bit later this spring for another conference. I was in San Antonio this time. I want to talk a little bit about Vintage because I was at a 20-person sanctioned Vintage tournament yesterday. Now, as my plane was landing from Texas, the first round of the Friday Night Magic sanctioned at Mox Boarding House in Bellevue was already underway. I was able to make it there for round three and enter. I two losses for the first two rounds since I missed those, but I was able to grab my dredge deck because my partner MaggieBot was already playing the deck that you see here, the bug deck. And I was able to jump in for those last two rounds. I went 1-1. I had never played Dredge Vintage in a sanctioned tournament. It is really complicated post-board. There's a lot going on. The games were very, very close post-board, especially in that last round that I lost. I learned a lot from playing the deck. I look forward to playing it again. It looks like Mox Boarding House because of the turnout. They had people driving a few hundred miles to be there. 20 plus people for a Vintage Friday Night Magic is going to do this again in February. And when I know when, I will share that with you guys. I just had a lot of fun playing Vintage. The players were really, really nice. We're talking out of the 20 people that were there, 19 of them were Vintage specific decks, and one person had brought their Legacy deck. Their Legacy deck was crushed, and I believe they dropped halfway through. Although I think they still got a prize because they did a non-powered, non-bazaar prize as part of this. I'm having a lot of fun with Vintage. I look forward to playing a lot more over this year. I really need to complete my power online so that I can play a bit online. Second thing is, we've got Fate Reforged that's coming out this weekend for pre-releases and next weekend officially. My top 10 list will be out later today. People who are patrons can already see the slides, and I'll be recording it right after this video. I did a bunch of slide work while I was down in Texas. I tried to do some recordings, but my camera and laptop that I was on a borrowed laptop, were just terrible. I really need to invest in some decent video equipment if I'm going to travel or do conferences, other stuff like that, and still keep up on the channel. So that's something that I'm looking at investing in probably about halfway through the year, somewhere in the June, July area. I also know that I owe a few people some pack openings for patrons. I should get those out this week, Friday at the latest, hopefully even by Wednesday, if not sooner. Look forward to those. They're coming very, very soon. If you've got anything that you want to see for upcoming deck techs, my deck tech for this month is going to be Vintage Dredge because I just had so much fun playing that deck. But I'm looking for an idea for next month. I'm willing to do Modern, Standard, Legacy, Vintage, EDH, anything. If there's a type of deck that you want to see a deck tech on, put it in the comments. Anything that gets a lot of support from people, I'll definitely strongly look at that, especially if I know it. Otherwise, I'll do some research and I'll push it off to a little bit later date. But I'm looking for ideas for deck techs for next month. Thank you guys so much for hanging on to the channel here while I was out of town. We've got a lot of content coming up. I'm also looking at doing another Novlomo, except it would be Febvolmo, a vlogging every day in February. It went over so well in November. November was my most number of hits. People were really happy, really engaged. I'm going to try that again in February. So look forward to that. We're going to have a lot of Ask Anything, some interactive content, that type of stuff going on in February. Thank you guys. I look forward to seeing your comments and what type of decks you would like to see me cover in the upcoming months.